what, Manuel? You can show me a video anytime.
Oh, I will show you a video anytime.
Absolutely. Like, we're going to make a video right now here in this thing called Airborne Sea Life that we're
In
making
which
right now.
you will show me a video.
I'll show you a video that I also happen to be in. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Well, no, I'm not going to be in the video I'm going to show you. But I could show this video to you later of me showing you a completely unrelated video. That's pretty good.
Are we
Yeah,
recording?
of course we're recording. Don't be a fool. This is quality media right here.
Did we sync ourselves up? Does Riverside do that? I don't remember anymore.
It did the 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello.
Well, hello. We can edit things out of things. It's pretty good.
Nah, just Yusuf, leave it all in.
Yusuf, if you're editing this later, you could see all of this. We'll let you decide which parts are funny that you think should just stay here. So I'm Brendan Sloan, and I'm here to talk to you today about things. And
It's the Jersey Boys.
It's once again a Jersey.
We're gonna talk about the gabagool and the pork roll.
I was my considered opinion that I should be consuming a bagel whilst on here, having an enormous sense of entitlement while messily eating a bagel sandwich into the microphone. The most Jersey thing I could possibly be doing at this moment.
Precisely. We are the Airborne Sea Life podcast. This is another Jersey Boys episode. What are you reading?
Oh, I was going to read a copy of the New York Post while eating my bagel and yelling at people about the New York Mets or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Does anyone actually care about the Devils around here?
Well, we do. We are a Devils household, Manuel. And
okay.
Aaron is the second Aaron watches this, she's going to fight you in a
I really don't want to fight your wife. I feel like that goes poorly for me.
It will. I mean, there's really no winning that scenario, but that's just my professional opinion on the issue. So we've got things today. We do
certainly have things today. What's the news today, Brendan?
Well, we do have some news, and it took us a second to find something we really like, but I think I found one that you could be sinking your teeth on in there. So we have some news about Geddy Lee, because we like Rush here on Airborne Sea Life.
We certainly do.
It's proggy, it's great, it's good. We like prog here. Geddy Lee explains Weird Zone, quote-unquote, bass playing on Rush's Vapor Trails. Ooh. It's somewhat of an interview with Geddy Lee, since it's always, always good things. Let's look a little bit at the article here and see what we got, and let's think about what we're thinking with it, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bit of a technical explanation, but I kind of appreciate that. Like, he starts talking about, like, going into specifics of what he was doing, when recording that album, which I think is kind of cool.
Let's give a little context for the listeners at home, shall we? Let's give a little bit of a read here. It says here over on metalinjection.net, Rush fans, of course, know the band's prolificacy. That was my language of the day. I don't need your judgment, sir or madam. Hello, sir or madam. I am here to sell you a product today. Oh my goodness. We at Airborne Sea Life are not going to their vacuum cleaner salesman. I'm sorry. So, churning out nearly an album a year since the mid-'70s. How do you find fresh inspiration for decades of relentless productivity? Geddy Lee and Rush discovered the answer by stepping back 5 years and reconvening in 2001 with Vapor Trails video album. So, what are some technical things that they covered in this article, Manuel? Anything you would like to comment upon?
Yeah. So he talks a lot about like what he was doing specifically. Like, I like this line here. I think that's just a quote. I think that's no, that's the wrong quote. Here we go. A departure from the traditional roots-heavy bass lines that became a hallmark of Lee's work on Vapor Trails. Quote, I think that's from the way I use bass chords. The roots are implied without necessarily having to be emphasized. Sometimes we miss that, though. So I'll go back and add a lower bass line that grounds that part. But if it's not necessary, we live without it. So there's a lot of like that album does have some really strange bass lines, and I appreciate him actually explaining that he's taking a chordal approach to the bass and not just using it as, just bottom end. Which
I
explains
think most
why the
people,
bass lines came up like they did.
I think sometimes like the layman interpretation of the bass is it's just kind of like a background rhythmic component.
Yeah.
And I don't know how necessarily true that is exclusively. I think that I don't want to say feature, but not a feature, not a bug, because the bass is kind of an important part of any band, realistically. Like I don't think that's a controversial statement right there.
Yeah, it's extremely important. People don't realize how boring music is without bass, but there's that classic joke of everyone leaves during the bass solo.
Yeah,
And it is
exactly.
true that for a lot of rock and metal's history, the bass was basically just a low guitar. But Rush kind of, well, they weren't the only ones to do this, but they helped really bring the bass into the forefront and make it its own thing instead of just a low extension for the guitars.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think that, it's not exactly a unfair statement to say that Rush had just their own particular, not had, well, has their own particular way of just kind of reinventing how certain elements of music is incorporated into a composition.
Oh yeah,
Um,
big time.
so one of the parts of the article talks about is, how taking a hiatus is was just kind of the whole deal. How critical would you say, a hiatus is for just about any band? Or is it just like, you know, how would you feel the hiatus as a whole is a good idea for any kind of musical group?
I mean, I think it depends on the group. Sometimes bands take a hiatus and then come back and it's garbage, and then sometimes they come back and it's fresh and new. I mean, everyone needs a vacation sometimes,
I mean, that's true. But, sometimes you take that hiatus and you just never
and
come
you
back.
lose your steam, yeah. So I
What
don't.
makes a good hiatus? Like, what are the ingredients of like making a good hiatus? You think like what would really go into like a successful outcome of that?
I mean, I've never been on hiatus from any band that I've been in. Right, every band that I have been in has either ended or is still going.
Hmm.
But uh, just knowing how my own creativity works and how it interacts with breaks, I think keeping in mind like there's a difference between taking a break and just being lazy and taking a break and relaxing intentionally and kind of keeping in mind what you want to get back to afterwards. If that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it is a very dangerous game when a band goes on vacation, but one would have had to have imagined that a band like Rush, so prolific over their like multi-decade long career, it would find it hard to imagine a band like that who's that hardworking, which has never come back. You know what I
All
mean?
three of those guys are brilliant, and they definitely know more about how to handle a band than I ever will. So,
Hey, there's someday, right? There's someday. Someday you might
uh,
get to be that cool. That day is not today,
I
obviously.
don't know if I'm ever gonna be cool. Dude, I saw Rush on the R40 tour, and they played for 2 hours better than I can play for 30 minutes, and didn't really seem to get very tired by the end.
Well, there's playing music and getting music down to a science
Yeah.
almost. Like, it's a weird blend of self-expression, but like methodical genius that was just the core of what Rush is. And God, I think this episode's just slowly turning into like nerding out about Rush. And
Realistically, there would not be prog metal would not be a thing without Rush, and everyone knows that. But uh, yeah, the bass playing on Vapor Trails is super cool. There's a lot of interest. There's a couple interesting quotes on this interview. I like he explains that he sometimes ends up with a two to three bass tracks on each song, because he'll end up strumming something and then go in and layer something underneath it and then do something else, which is not very typical in a rock recording because bass is so. You can end up with issues if you have too many bass tracks just because of how low the notes are.
not if you're freaking Rush, apparently.
But yeah, not if you're Geddy Lee.
Not if you're Geddy Lee. That's the point. Like, there's an old joke, in like an episode of Metalocalypse where they're like recording an album, and then they're like, it's William Murderface's turn to like make his tracks, and they're like, listen, we're just gonna level with you. We just turn your tracks down as far as they'll go to the point where we just can't even hear them.
Yeah,
Like,
for those following along at home, that arc of Metalocalypse is way closer to the actual experience of recording an album than any of us like to admit.
just like we're gonna take the bass and we're gonna move
Yeah.
it like way over here, just like way over here. Like, if you think it's too close, I assure you it is not. Which is not a fair thing to say about the bass. Bass players work hard,
Yeah.
We're not here to kick the bass players while they're down. That's just not fair. That's not what we here at Airborne Sea Life think all members of the band are important.
Yeah.
And,
Unless they're Canadian. Oh wait, Rush. Shit.
you are doing such a bad job at proving your point. Like, I'm sorry. Like, come on, man. You have one job here and you blow it. You blew it, sir. What are you doing? You backed yourself into a whole order.
I can't even eat bagels. I technically grew up in Virginia. I don't know what's wrong with me, but
You need to hand in your badge, your gun, and your bowling shirts by the end of the day, please.
bowling shirts. Yes.
It's unbelievable.
Right. Anyway, what are we listening today to? What are who list band?
Holy subject change, Batman. So, anytime it's just Manuel and I, we're going to do a band from New Jersey. And we're realizing that within our kind of niche, there's so many bands we could go through. Well, there's a good amount of bands, but eventually we're going to run out of New Jersey bands. So we're going to have to get creative. But today we're going to listen to a track from Overkill, which is a, very prominently New Jersey native band. And the song is a little thing called Scorched off of which album is that off of? If I might just take a moment here. It's also off the album Scorched. Never mind. There you go. It's off the self-titled album. There you go. It's nice and easy for you. Where is the share option? Here we go. We are going to do all of the thing. If you will just indulge me a moment. Okay, so I have not gone through the song myself. We're going to do a live react to it. And for those of you who are not aware, this is a very old school thrash metal band. They were kicking around the times of Metallica. And, in my summation, they have been, keeping a pretty consistent sound quality for guys who've been playing thrash metal since the 80s. Like, it's pretty significant, and I hope you appreciate them as much as I do. So,
yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. After this very successful first attempt that I hope Yusuf edited incorrectly, here we go.
There we go.
Fire is always a good start.
Oh, yeah. I like the bells.
Yeah.
Kind of a classic move.
Also, it appears to be Stars of David in the background. That's pretty cool.
Huh. That's very thrash.
It is very thrash. That's why I said old school Jersey thrash metal.
Yeah.
Way down deep in the fire, way down deep in the flame, way down deep in the hole I dug, way down deep in the pain. On a flashing new atmosphere, atomic wind blowing into your night. Crash and burn, let me make it clear.
Oh, there's your William Murder Face mustache. This is good.
Yeah.
Will you miss me when I'm gone? Will you kiss me every birth? Will you miss me dead and gone? Oh, scorch the earth! Scorch the earth! Scorch your brain! Scorch your dreams and what remains! Scorch the good! Scorch the bad! The best vampire son you ever had! Scorch the earth! And your brain! Scorch your dreams and what remains!
There's something respectable about old school thrash that it kind of knows how ridiculous it is.
But you also have to admit that consistency over like a several decade long thrash band, it's just, these guys are still doing it the way there's best. Like, listen to that. That's some good quality right there. Besides, just play power metal. It's equally ridiculous. We'll still nerd out about it every day, all day.
Oh yeah. I've never been huge into thrash, and I actually saw Overkill many years ago, and it's not fair for it, but I'm having a good time.
See? It's not a bad time at all. I also got to interview Bobby Blitz, the lead singer of this band, when I was at WSMU. He's one of the nicest dudes of all time.
I'm sure he was.
He insisted, he answered my jokey Batman question with flying colors. That's great.
Kind of a pretty classic breakdown.
It is indeed. Like, it's something comforting to like see a thrash metal song that came out like a year ago, existing in very similar format to how it would have been. Like,
Has been having a big revival lately. There is absolutely nothing new, but that might be a good thing. I don't know how much more you can do with thrash that has already been done.
and that's kind of the point, you know? Thrash metal knows what it is, and it doesn't apologize for what it is. You get in that mosh pit, and you're still going to have a fun time.
Yeah, I say this as a band that regularly rips off Megadeth riff in every song.
There you go. That's the other thing. People can pretend to be nice and pretentious about certain bands and blah, blah,
And
blah.
I will, no.
End of the day, you're still going to have fun listening to those old Metallica records. Because the other thing, a lot of bands will just kind of slow down and kind of ease up on how they like shred on guitar. Not overkill them. This is
that's just solid playing. That's a lot better than a lot of thrash bands I can play with. Yeah.
That's another thing. Overkill very specifically is a band that is unapologetically still just as thrashy as possible.
There's also a lot of old school thrash bands that kind of devolved into really sad dad rock.
Yeah. Not here. No.
Yeah.
Like the very punky vocals, like the background vocals, like the backup vocals where they're all like just kind of all singing in like the guy harmonies, like just working together. It just, there is nothing new. But so the effect of that's part of the point almost.
Yeah, I mean they're still going for it. It's cool.
It's super cool.
Super cool.
And this is probably one of the most New Jersey bands you could possibly get. So.
Sorry, I made myself laugh.
It's okay. I think the take. So, what do we like? What do we not like? Let's break her down a bit.
I kind of like that it is unapologetically unoriginal, and it isn't. Again, so much thrash has kind of devolved into a sad parody of itself. That's just exactly what it was in the '80s, and it is not apologizing for it.
But in itself, that's the point, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it's like you said, a lot of bands have devolved into like this slow, methodic dad metal where you come on stage wearing like a wraparound shade and an eye and like a visor and things like that. But first and foremost, this is a Jersey Boys episode, so we need a Jersey band. And Overkill is a very Jersey band. Hold on, where specifically in New Jersey?
I know.
Let's find out. They are from. Let me. It just says in New Jersey. That doesn't help me. Old Bridge Township. There you go. Like, because that's the same. You got the Old Bridge Metal Militia.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but this is like a classic New Jersey metal band.
Yeah, that's not terribly far from us, is it?
No, it's not. No, it is absolutely.
In New Jersey, nothing's terribly far from anything else, which I like.
Well, that's kind of the point. That's why we like it here.
Yes.
But
it's not like Canada.
Yeah,
where second biggest country in the world, and everything is just huge.
You need your snowmobile to get to your neighbor.
Yeah, you might get eaten by bears on the way,
I'm sorry.
Are you? I'm not.
A little bit. Not entirely, but it's going to be okay. Overall, I think that, again, we're not really encroaching on unexplored territory here.
No.
But I think what I really like about it is that, this is a band that has refused to rest on its laurels. It's just continued to just keep making itself work as hard as it possibly can. And that really, it's like we said, we really don't see a whole lot of bands these days that continue to try to be what they were in the 80s.
Are you familiar with the College Humor bit on with the Oreos?
Oh yeah, how Brendan B. Mulligan is trying to tell us to stop reinventing the Oreo.
Yeah, and then the guy's like, we don't want to rest on our laurels here. Maybe you should. It kind of feels this like they've been doing one thing for 40 years, and it's kind of working for them. So keep on doing that.
Absolutely, but other than comfortable familiarity, what are parts of the song that we liked? What do we not like? What are our parts?
Very surprised by the guitar solos. It was like actually pretty good playing and pretty well put together, which is more than I can say about a lot of thrash bands, and I was not expecting it.
Well, that's the other thing of it. It's just and the other part of it is just like the majority of the band is more or less the same band. Like, there's obviously like a couple of differences here and there, but let's see, who do we have in the lead guitar these days? So, okay, not every member of the band is original, but I think the current guitar player that we have, who do we have right now? If you'll just bear with me right now. That was the guitar playing of Dave Linzik. He is an insane guitar player, like he is this, uncompromising, just this unbelievably capable player. And playing thrash metal for any significant period of time is going to drain the dexterity out of your fingers.
Yeah, that stuff's a workout. That stuff's a big time workout.
But like, he has been in the band for how far back? Let me take a look at the timeline here. He has been playing with Overkill since... Okay, so he was not the original guitar player. That would be, according to... Wow, that is a bit of a spattering right there. I'm not demonstrating a good historical record here.
I feel like both of us are, to quote Metalocalypse, a little on the clanky side today.
We're a little on the clanky side today. This is what sleep deprivation will do. But here we are doing this anyway. So Dave has been playing.
Sorry.
Dave has been playing with this band since the early 2000s, and we're well into 20 years of thrash metal at this point. And playing it this considerably well after all of that time is something to be said about the man himself.
Yeah. That speaks to, actually, my guitar teacher is big on this of like, you want to practice a technique that is good enough that you'll still be able to do this in your 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of people do, because it's very easy, especially because guitar doesn't really have a tradition like a lot of classical instruments, electric guitar, of, the right way of doing things, which sometimes produces some cool results, but a lot of times people will get into a way of playing when they're young that will just shred their muscles when they're older, and that's why you see guitar players kind of drop off as they age.
I think that, to that point, you are correct. I think, it's also it's also very easy to glibly kind of like judge and criticize a guitar player who's like, it sounds like a dad band now. But then, like, you look at the career they had come from, and you remember where they started, and, they put in the work to get to that point,
Yeah.
type thing. And, I think that, I offer a tremendous amount of respect to anyone who can play as well as we just saw in this song, for as long as we did. And Bobby Blitz's vocals, too, they sound... It's like, the man has clearly gotten older, but, if you listen to, like, some of the songs from back in the 80s, it's just, the man's voice sounds just... It's aged remarkably well, considering how he has, pushed the boundaries of his voice for a long period of time. I think that this is a band where is a considerable demonstration in longevity. And, not a lot of thrash metal bands who aren't like Metallica or like Megadeth are still seeing like millions of views on YouTube. And when you look at this particular thing, this song saw well over 1 million views on YouTube. So that should really say something to like the staying power of a band like Overkill.
Yeah.
I mean, you may not be able to ask average Joe, like if you asked someone, who do you know more? Do you know Metallica or do you know Overkill? Naturally, of course, more people are going to lean into the Metallica answer. But that being said, this is a metal band that has just survived and just stood the test of time.
Yeah, I feel like Metallica's just a bad thing to compare any band to, because Metallica is kind of the poster child for mainstream music that pretends it's alternative.
Yeah, I mean, there was a
And it was the biggest band in the world for a long time, you know?
well, my point is more of the name recognition variety. Like
Yeah,
people,
fair enough.
average Joe, even if they don't like listen to metal, knows who they are. Especially if you like watch Stranger Things, you'll know what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are just excited to hear that name. But if you ask them for a band like Overkill or even Testament, like they're not going to know that to the same degree unless you're like a guy still wearing like a jean jacket with band patches all over it that you see like if we want to really dive into New Jersey, Starland Ballroom when like
Yeah.
Anthrax has come to town. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I've met those people more than once at concerts, and they are invariably either the nicest people you've ever met or
Or
like
douche.
the biggest.
Well,
There's
that's the
nothing in
meta.
between.
Well, yeah, it's either hey, come and mosh with me, or metal elitism. There is
Mm-hmm.
no there is no in between. And we're sorry that like your band hasn't necessarily been relevant in like 30 years,
But
but
it's
like
metal. It hasn't been relevant in general in 30 years.
say love me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And yet here we are with the podcast about it.
here we are.
Here we be, and not a
Here we
bagel to
be.
be seen.
We really had a bit of an oversight there.
Well, we have plenty of ways to improve upon that I will share with you at the end of the episode, and we'll figure it out.
Very well. Do we have any parting thoughts for the people?
I don't really think we do. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's a whole lot of new ground that was covered in the song. But I think the overall theme is I still enjoy my thrash metal. I'll still like rock around in my car to it and have a good time. Is it like groundbreaking? Is it really fresh? Is it not something we've seen dozens of times? No. Is it still damn fun? And is it still a good time? And is it still excellent quality after decades of playing around? You better believe it damn well is.
Yeah, and there's I feel like thrash, a lot of styles of metal, as they age, they become less styles and more part of the vocabulary. So loads of bands now take that language and do other things with it that isn't thrash.
Thrash for me is the comfort food of music where I could just know I'm going to have a good time with it and
Yeah,
just not even think about it.
absolutely. Well, this
And
has been the Airborne Sea Life podcast. You can find us on all or most of the social medias at Airborne Sea Life.
yep.
Do we have anything else to promote?
I mean, go check out the Instagram. It needs more love. I need more motivation to stop being lazy with it and put up more silly animal memes and stuff.
Yeah.
And do you have any musical things you want to plug, Manuel? Maybe some necro stuff?
Necro, yes, that I do. There is a new Necro song coming out tomorrow, I believe.
Ooh.
So keep an eye out for that. Necronomicon Ex Mortis on all of the, the usual places. And stay tuned. I may or may not have some stuff coming soon.
Oh boy, I'm excited. We are a froth with excitement.
Oh,
Oh my.
oh no.
But
Goodbye.
goodbye. How do I stop? There it is.